everything changes.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome into the channel. Again, some more emails about companies filing for bankruptcy. Lucky Brand, the most recent one just 2 days ago over the weekend, the July 4th weekend, the 3rd and the 4th, they filed for bankruptcy. It is Chapter 11, so those of you that are not up to date or confused about what Chapter 11 means, it doesn't mean out of business. It means they're restructuring debts and vendors and creditors, people they owe money to, possibly people that supply them inventory, lines of credit, banks, all that sort of stuff. They work out deals for different types of payment plans, and it keeps them in business. Part of that refiling and restructuring usually means closing stores. In this instance, it does. They operate 200 stores. They're closing 13 immediately and could be more. So let's just say they close 20. That would be 10% of their business. Not a huge chunk, but a good amount. So Lucky Brands operates under the Aeropostale and Nautica brand parent company. They actually are owned by them. And that company also owns a lot of malls, and I think that's out west, a lot of malls that Lucky Brand operates out of. So that would make them also their landlord. So it gives them a little bit more flexibility in reworking those leases and reworking those creditors and debts. And they've got a parent company to kind of supply them with capital to a point as well. Sometimes parent companies aren't willing to invest a lot of money into a failing brand. They'll let that brand go and focus on the brands that are working. I didn't know Nautica and Aeropostale were working, but apparently they do. So that's Lucky Brand's story. Let's go over to the news story. I'll show you on my iPad just what they're going through, because there's a little bit more to it. And you guys will see this with a lot of retailers, especially after C19 and everything finally gets rolling. It's already happened with a ton of companies we've talked about. And there will be more to follow. I believe they said, 20 or 30,000 stores closing this year. So 13 more added to that list isn't even a noticeable number, but for a company like Lucky Brand with just 200 stores, it is a pretty significant hit if they end up having to close 20 or maybe 25 or 30 and they can't get their debts restructured. They may have to go to online only, or they may not last, or in this case it also mentions that they have somebody willing to buy them out, so that may be an option as well. And it would be worth about $200 million, which Lucky Brand being worth $200 million, it is a smaller brand, but I thought it'd be worth more than that. Anyways, let's check out the story and I'll show it to you over on my iPad. All right, so here is the story from the Associated Press out of NBC Los Angeles. After 30 years, Lucky Brand filing for bankruptcy. Denim retailer has filed for bankruptcy protection, blaming its troubles in part on the Rona pandemic, and has a deal lined up to sell the company. It's closing 13 stores and could shutter more during the bankruptcy process. I'm going to guess it gets rid of about 20, which would be 10% of their 200 or so stores. They filed for Chapter 11. Remember, Chapter 11 is a restructuring. It doesn't mean they're going out of business or liquidating yet. It doesn't mean it won't happen, but it also doesn't mean it's happening just yet. And they filed for that bankruptcy court filing in Delaware. Why Delaware? Is Lucky Jeans a Delaware company? No, absolutely not. They're not a Delaware company. Is Facebook a Delaware company? No. But these large companies file their business holdings in Delaware because Delaware has a very friendly tax law for businesses. Look it up. You'll figure out what I'm talking about. Facebook has never existed in Delaware except to record their company filings. It's crazy, and I feel like I should file my company in Delaware. All you got to do, as far as I understand, is get a mailbox in the middle of a PO somewhere in the middle of a field, and you're all set. I could be wrong. Okay. In a court filing, the restructuring officer, again restructuring, Mark Renzi, described a proposal to sell to the retail operator Spark Group for $140.1 million in cash and $51.5 million in credit, making it a $191.6 million deal. Yes, I can do math every once in a while. In fact, math is my strong point. I'm going to be honest with you. It would preserve much of the company's current network of stores, minus the 13 to 20 they're going to close anyways, so they'll keep 180 to 180 and change stores. We'll have to see. I mentioned Spark operates Aeropostale and Nautica. I didn't even know those companies were doing well enough to still own those. They also are owned by mall operator Simon Property Groups, which is one of their landlords. So when your landlord's willing to work with you to restructure your rent, your lease, your deals, that is a big help in the bankruptcy process, because the judge sees that you're friendly with your landlord because he owns part of you. They do have a backup bid, and they're looking for other offers and getting the court to approve a bid process. They want to close a sale by mid-August. Pretty quick. Only going to take them about a month to close on the deal. They're, of course, operating 200 stores. They also sell out of Macy's, Nordstrom, and Costco. They were undermined by the shift among shoppers away from brick and mortar. Well, duh. Not to mention people don't want to spend $150 to $200 on jeans anymore. Lucky Brand at one point was $150 to $200 jean. Now they're down to like $100 jean. And of course, the virus outbreak this spring. The chain was also hurt by limited liquidity, which made it harder to get new inventory from vendors. That means their vendors started requiring them to pay for inventory up front rather than extending them terms of credit like 30, 60, or 90 days. Renzi said some key vendors began requiring payment on delivery. Again, COD, you pay up front, no money, no inventory. Okay, so Lucky said earlier this year it had 3,000 employees, most part-timers, not surprising. And after the stores closed down because of C-19, they furloughed nearly 2,700. They were all the way down to 300 employees. They brought back 900, so they're back up to 1,200, but it's still less than 50% of what they had. They were created in 1990. They've gone through several owners, but they've generally been profitable over their 30-year history. Well, because when you sell $150 jeans that you paid like $5 to get, yeah, you're probably pretty profitable. Look, when I was back in the day, probably 10 years ago, I owned some Lucky jeans, but I probably paid $80 to $100 for them like an idiot. They didn't last. I tore those jeans up, and they're probably laying in a pile in my closet. I haven't worn them in years. They probably only lasted a couple years at best. My silver jeans that I've had for 5, 6, 7 years, they last forever. Every year I buy a couple new pair of silver jeans, 2 or 3 pairs. Yeah, I spend 60, 70, 80 bucks a pair on them. Men's Warehouse, great place for silver jeans. They're about 125 bucks a pair, but if you go during the buy one, get one free, you end up spending like $60 or $65 a pair. Great deal. So I'll buy like 2 pairs or 4 pairs, and I stock up every year. And so over the last 4 or 5 years, I've stocked up on 10 or 15 pairs of silver jeans, and those things hold up like crazy. I'm happy to spend $60 or $70 on a pair of jeans that, I could go the next 5 years and not buy any. So I'm happy to do that, $100, $150 a year for jeans. It's no problem at all. I hated buying Lucky or some of the other ones. I bought a pair of True Religion. I bought these ones. Honestly, I spent $100, 80, 90, 100, $120, and they were already coming apart in the next year or 2 years. Just overpriced garbage. So you can certainly feel free to express your opinion about that down below. But silver jeans, they hold up fantastic. You got Posh, you got eBay, you got all these places you can get them cheap as well. So definitely look at that. Okay, so that's our story. That is Lucky Brand filing for bankruptcy. There are more companies to come. Let me know how you feel about the companies closing down. Almost 30,000 stores this year will close. That's crazy. There are more coming soon, I assure you, including the ones we've already talked about on this channel. Feel free to go through my channel and find those videos. I'll try to link 1 or 2 below. Anyways, have a wonderful evening. Thank you as always for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more hauls, more updates, more thrift trips when available, more bulk purchases, and more news updates as they come through. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and I will see you next time.